Guys, big news. We didn't think that this was going to happen today. We thought it was going to happen tomorrow, but opening statements have just started in the Kentucky versus Brice Rhodes trial. We are crossing to it right now. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Moving over right now, and we are going to be not far behind.
For opening.
Let's go.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Getting straight into it. Hello, online. Give me some feedback as to the sound once he starts talking. No, don't watch it on LNC. Tell your friends, people, let's go. I'm going to do a tweet in a sec. Let them know. I literally jumped out of bed.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Can you hear it okay?
Callous and casual was the first murder.
All good?
The two that followed were calculating and cruel. In May of 2016, Brice Rhodes snuffed out the life of Christopher Jones,
Can you hear it okay,
Larry
online?
Ordway, and Maurice Gordon. The evidence is going to show that these acts occurred basically as two acts. And so if this were a play, these would be the characters that are involved in the first act.
Hey, Sal, can you hear it okay?
Maurice Gordon and Larry Ordway. Despite having different last names, these two are brothers that live together. They went to school at Olmsted.
Okay.
They like
I'll just turn it up.
basketball. They enjoyed rapping.
I can turn it up. Just a minute.
They were always hanging out together. They had a home. They had a family. But from time to time, they would be out of the house for a few days. That wasn't anything.
My cat is trying to pull the
unusual for them.
thing down.
They were born 2 years apart and a day, so they almost had the same birthday. And unfortunately, they both died on the same day, which we'll get to a little bit later. So these two brothers that were always hanging out together, 16 years old and 14-year-old, were friends with several people. One of which was Corey Taylor.
He's walking around like a good prosecutor.
You're going to hear testimony from him.
Let's see if I've got. Do they have any? No, they have no closed caption. That's normal.
Lost
It's live,
his
I
job
suppose.
At White Castles, was in and out of people's houses. He would stay in the stairwell at his girlfriend's house. He was just kind of on the boundary of things, and he was friends with both Larry and Maurice. And Corey goes by Corey also sometimes, and Maurice Gordon also goes by Maurice. And they were mutual friends with Brice Rhodes, the defendant here, who went by Rambo. Rambo, Brice Rhodes, was 25 years old at the time in 2016 when he's hanging out with 14-year-olds and 16-year-olds. Corey was 17 years old. There's one more person in this friend group. Antoine Carter, right here. And he goes by Buddha. And he was just a friend of theirs that would hang out. So as they were hanging out, an idea came about. This is a picture of Larry and Maurice. Mr. Rhodes, the defendant. It's a picture of and a picture of Ja'Cory. Now I'm gonna leave this up here just as a reference for you all, so when the names start going, you can look back. So one night with Brice Rhodes, we came upon an idea. The idea was basically to hit out, and they were going to kill that person and collect on it. Brice Rhodes was aware of this hit and knew who would pay on it and knew who the target was. So on May the 4th, 2016, now keep in mind, all the events from this case happened in May of 2016.
Hey.
So when you see witnesses on the witness stand, they don't look at
We're
all the
going.
same as they look back. And also people's memories are a little bit different because this happened a while ago. So the idea was this. They all hopped in a car on May the 4th, and Maurice was driving the car. It was a blue Mazda that was owned by the defendant, Mr. Rhodes. The front passenger seat was Larry. Brice Rhodes was in the back behind the driver's seat. And Ja'Cory Taylor was on the right behind the passenger seat. Trailing in a different vehicle was Ja'Cory Taylor, or Antoine Carter. He's in a truck that's following behind his car. So it's nighttime, and they're driving around looking for this guy, looking to collect the price on his head. As they approach, picture of Antoine, who's the follow driver, who's 17 at the time. As they approach 41st Street, there's video of the car driving by, then video of the truck. What happened was a man was walking out in the streets, and he had long braids. So he looked like the guy that Brice Rhodes believed the hit was on. So Brice Rhodes rolled down his window. The guy was walking out of the street. Cars parked in the road. Walking out into this, away from the street, in between the cars.
Sir, get to a freaking microphone.
Yells out the window to him, "Hey, get out the road, bitch!" And then shoots him one time in the side. Bullet wound is going to go through his arm and into his side. Police are going to be alerted that there was a shooting.
Oh, no.
Respond to the scene.
Really? Okay.
I always want to hear them humming danger music on the body cam.
The man on the pavement there is Christopher Jones. He had nothing to do with any hit or street business. He was just in the wrong place in the wrong and ended up being shot. He was still alive, but non-responsive there at the scene. EMS took him to the hospital where he passed away. This is the intersection of the nearest street that we reported to. There's another picture of Mr. Jones. And this is a picture from the body cam of approximately where his body was in the road as the car drove by. You can see this is the clothes he was wearing, some of the items that were in his purse. And that's what he was reduced to after he was shot by Mr. Rhodes. You can see a single bullet wound in his arm, and then the entrance of the bullet wound that turned out to be fatal into his chest. So that's the end of what, if this were a play, if this wasn't so serious, we'd call the first act.
Be right back.
Now, a couple different ways it happened, but essentially, Brice Rhodes became aware by overhearing a phone conversation with Ja'Cory talking to Maurice that they were talking about the murder that had happened, but their family knew about it. And as soon as Mr. Rhodes knew that the boys were talking, even just to their family, he knew that they had to do something about these boys to keep them from talking, to cover up this first murder. So this is a black Dodge Charger that Mr. Rhodes had access to and often drove. And you're going to hear testimony that on the 22nd of May, just a couple of weeks later, this black Charger picked the boys, Larry and Maurice, up at their house. And that was the last time that anybody from that apartment was going to see them alive again. So Maurice and Larry are obviously going to be the victims in this second act. And it's going to be carried out by a defendant named Tyrion Coleman, by Antoine Carter, who was involved earlier, and by Corey Taylor, and by Mr. Rhodes himself. So I'm going to leave that up there for your reference. So this is Brice Rhodes' apartment that he lived at with his mom. He had the boys over there. It was 4 of them, well, the 6 of them, 4 individuals listed there, Maurice, Larry, and another individual. And as the night got on, boys started wrestling around, and there was a little bit of a skirmish that broke out with Maurice. And so Brice Rhodes said it was time to discipline Maurice. Maurice had pulled out a knife on somebody, and so Brice hit him upside the head.
Oh, the screen just went black for a second. I thought I ended the stream by accident.
And said, "It's time for you to be disciplined."
You're muted.
So he went up to Maurice, put a toboggan on
Not
his
this
head,
time.
pulled it down over his eyes. So he
Uh-huh.
tied his arms
7 years.
behind his back so that he couldn't move. And he made him beg for forgiveness and plead for his life.
There's no closed caption, is there?
He was begging everyone not to spare
He's
him,
walked away from the mic.
apologizing and saying he was sorry.
I can turn it up a bit more.
I would.
Larry,
Oh, there he
his
goes.
brother, was taken and held in a different room.
Sir, stand still.
Larry's
Use your outdoor voice, sir.
here
Man.
Hear what happened to him. And what happened to his brother is that he was punched a few times by Mr. Taylor. And then Brice
Hey,
Rhodes
Richie.
took a knife
Welcome.
and began stabbing over and over
Right.
and over again.
Ugh,
Chest,
it's hard to listen to.
in the midsection, and in the genitals.
Oh, what?
Jesus. Dude.
Screaming, crying out for help, and his brother was helpless, a room away to do anything about it.
Ugh.
When they were finally done,
Not the Gens.
they rolled Maurice over, and then they brought Larry into the room. Then they repeated the process. Hogging off, put it on Larry's head. They put something over Larry,
Hey, Hayden.
stabbing him
How's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
until he died there.
I'm about to eat Old Line Red. Got some ribs.
Brice's mom and sister, who shared that apartment with him, were out of town that weekend. So he had the place to himself. He had people involved help him take the body of the boys and put them in some totes, which he then carried down and put
Tote life.
back in his Mazda. Some in the back seat, and one of them in the back seat, and one of them in the trunk. And then he
Hey,
drove
it's all right.
off.
Come here. You're upset.
Now he left
I know it's upsetting.
Anwar and Jacory at the house to clean up because there was blood all over the car. Cleaning supplies, they gave them towels. And just for good measure, because his mom was out of town, he had them also do his dishes while they were gone. He and other individuals went and dropped the body of the boys off, dropped their bodies off. He also set fire to the items that were associated with the stabbing and left it in a dumpster. Dropped the bodies off around 4028 River Park Drive, which you can see from the area is near the park, near Wanda Park where they play ball. So on the 22nd day of May, this is what somebody in the neighborhood discovered. 2 boys mutilated, stabbed, set on fire, and left like trash. So boys' parents are starting to wonder where they're at when they don't come home after the first day. And so mom gives him a call.
I think the shock cuffs are on his legs.
Well, the person that answers the phone
Oh.
isn't Maurice. It's
I think I'm
Antoine
an
Carter.
expert.
Nor am I.
He tells her, kids are fine. They're doing something else. Just borrowed the phone. So, police discover the 2 bodies. And eventually they have sketch artists come out. They can't get fingerprints because the bodies are too badly burned. They have sketch artists come out and draw a picture of how the boys looked, and they're looking for, checking news stories for missing boys. Eventually, they find that there's 2 boys that are missing from Olmsted School, and they have the boy's mother come out, and she identifies that yes, that's them. From there, police realize a couple things. They know who the boys left with that night. They know that it was Mr. Rhodes. They also know that they left with Antoine Carter and Jacory Taylor. So police track the phone, and eventually it leads them to Antoine Carter. And Antoine Carter eventually ends up talking to police and explaining what happened after some little bit of give and take.
A little bit of give and take.
What happened.
Yeah, just a little bit.
About this same time, police pick up Brice Rhodes.
Mm.
He gives a short statement, which you will hear.
Oh, will we?
Police
Looking forward to that.
go out to Brice Rhodes' house once they've heard what happened, and they start pulling up the carpet from his house.
Oh, here we go.
When they do a DNA analysis on that carpet, of course, they find the blood of the two brothers is there on the carpet. Police also learn that after this event, after that night, when Brice Rhodes comes back from dropping the bodies off, he picks up the two boys that were left to clean up the house. Corey had with him the boots that he wore in the house. He left those boots at a girlfriend's house. And so police got a search warrant. They go to that girlfriend's house.
Yes, this is Randy, it's prosecution opening. Sure. You better?
What was said.
Good idea.
Also gives a statement to the police, and it pretty much matches the statement of Antoine Carter that I just relayed to you. So, here's a picture of the apartment. How cleanly the flooring was stripped in Brice Rhodes' place. Another thing that police did once the investigation got underway was they went and looked at Brice Rhodes' blue Mazda that had transported the two victims in the tote sacks. And you'll notice this is a picture of the back seat of the Mazda. All the cloth seating has been ripped out of it. And this is a picture of Jacory at the police station giving his statement. You can see, I want you to remember how young he truly is. At this point in time, he is 5'5", weighs 122 pounds. Brice Rhodes is a 25-year-old grown man. It's a picture of the boots that were recovered from the girlfriend's house. You're going to hear from a lot of different people that are going to come through here. The police that were involved with both of these investigations that had to piece together that the two investigations were connected and take over sort of from two different lead officers.
Sorry.
Experts in, you're going to hear from the medical examiner, you're going to hear from CSU professionals, you're going to hear everything that the police did to make sure that the victims in this case get justice. I hope the conclusion of the Commonwealth's case will give you that justice. Thank you.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah.
Counsel, could you approach for just one moment?
He's on like, I don't care moment. Okay, I'm not the fuzzy sounds,
Oh,
please.
they shaved his head and everything.
Not the fuzzy sounds. Don't do the fuzzy sounds on us. We don't like those.
Maybe his scalp has herpes.
That sounds like a flushing toilet.
Oh, sorry. That was me.
Dude, that sounds like a flushing toilet.
Wait, did he grow facial hair to cover the tattoos on his face and neck?
I don't know. But usually, does it sound like a flushing toilet to you?
Yeah.
It
I heard it.
does.
Yeah.
Usually it just sounds like white noise. But that just sounds like a constant flushing toilet. Right? flush in my ear. Okay, now whilst this is happening, I'm going to put it on playback speed of 1.5 so we can try and catch up a bit. In fact, I might even just what's happening. Where are we? Get to the point, people. Here we go.
If everybody who's already seated could move in towards the wall, please, and make room for anyone else who wants to come in during this break. Please have a seat. All right, would the defense like to make an opening statement now? Yes, Your Honor. All right, please go ahead.
Okay, go back down. I'd like to know what the defense is.
I stabbed him. I stabbed Maurice in his side. I drove on him. I ran him over. Ladies and gentlemen, these are
Get rid
quotes
of
from
that,
someone
please.
involved in this case, but these are not quotes from Brice Rhodes. These statements were made by Ann Carter. Ann Carter talked
Yeah,
about
she did.
killing his best friend, Maurice Gordon, and running over a helpless Christopher Jones.
Yeah, it kind of gave us an
Ann
advantage.
Carter is the prosecution's main witness in this trial. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm thankful that you're here. I know Brice is also grateful that you are here
I wouldn't be so
because
sure.
he has waited a long time for you all to hear the evidence.
This is pretty good so far.
The evidence, or the lack thereof, will show you that Brice Rhodes is not guilty of these accusations.
I shall keep an
The
open
burden
mind.
of proof being beyond a reasonable doubt. Why do we keep talking about that? I know you've
Good.
heard that many times already.
Yep.
I'm not
Our
defending
system,
him. Just
our government makes it so difficult to take someone's freedom that we can't let the government make any mistakes.
Nope.
And we want to be sure that no one is ever wrongfully convicted,
Absolutely.
especially in a situation where the stakes are this high. The government has made some very serious accusations against Brice.
Mm.
And I'm not here to undermine the loss that the families
She looks pretty tough though, online.
suffered
Yeah.
as a result of these senseless deaths.
I don't want to get on the wrong side.
But I'm here to make sure that nobody is wrongfully convicted, and that's why you are here.
She started off well.
that's it.
As jurors in this
Oh.
case, you guys have a great responsibility. But with that responsibility also comes a great power.
Oh God, did she just quote
You all
Spider-Man?
have the power to hold the government to
Great
their
power
burden
comes great accountability.
of proving Brice Rhodes guilty
Whatever it
beyond
is.
a reasonable doubt. You have the power to say no. You have the power to say we are not convinced. And the power to know that that decision is okay. So how do you make that decision? As Ms. Jones-Brown told you earlier, none of us can define reasonable doubt for you. That's up to you as a juror. That's up to you as an individual. So what are you going to use to make this determination? You will hear evidence over the next several days. You will decide what evidence you find credible, what witnesses you find believable. So what evidence do you all expect to see to help you make this decision? It's a very important decision. Eyewitnesses, that might be good. I think you'll find that there aren't any eyewitnesses who were not themselves involved in these crimes. There are no neutral witnesses. Do these witnesses have a motive to lie? Can we trust them? You might expect to see a murder weapon. There's not one. Is there physical evidence? Yes. Can it be trusted? That's up to you all to decide. Let's talk about the physical evidence.
Wow.
The Louisville Metro Police Department found tire tracks and footprints at the scene where Larry and Maurice's bodies were found.
I'm actually impressed.
The tire tracks could not be linked to Brice's vehicle. The footprints did not match Brice's shoes. Brice's fingerprints were not on any evidence. Brice Rhodes' DNA was not found on any evidence except for on the steering wheel and the gear shift of his own vehicle.
Guilty.
Let's talk about Brice's car. The Commonwealth showed you a picture.
It's almost
of
like
Mazda.
he wasn't a complete
Louisville Metro
asshole.
Police Department searches Brice's
Could have a
car and
case.
claims that the entire back seat of Brice's light blue Mazda had been removed in an effort to conceal evidence of his crimes.
He did the Zachariah Anderson move.
No DNA linking Brice to those crimes was recovered in that car.
Okay, now I'm beginning to think he's innocent.
You'll hear
Okay.
that Brice borrowed Chris Jensen's black Charger to drive these boys around. And when you hear from Mr. Jensen,
Wait, Jensen?
note that he is not going to be able to say that anyone was with Brice when he picked
Is it
up
my
that
boy?
black Charger,
No,
nor
no,
was anyone
Mark
with
Jensen's
Brice
not
when he
there.
dropped off
Calm
that
down.
black Charger to Mr. Jensen.
Trial would have got spicy.
It would have.
These are things to
It would have been
consider.
pains.
I want to give you an alternate perspective, if you will, than what the government has. Have they accused the right person, or was Brice an easy target to blame?
Oh yes, an easy target. Mhm.
Has the one who already committed these crimes pled guilty? I ask you all to listen to the evidence, observe the witnesses, and ask yourselves if something isn't quite right here. The evidence will show that there is a reasonable doubt that Brice Rhodes is guilty.
This could get interesting.
I know.
Let's talk about the detectives. in
Like if
this
he,
case.
he wasn't an asshat all
As you
in
all
the last
know,
7
the
years.
Yeah,
Metro
if he just
Police
behaved himself a
Department,
bit.
was the agency responsible for investigating both of these murders, both scenes, or excuse me, both incidents on May 4th and again
This
on
cat.
May 2nd.
Aw,
And there were two lead detectives, as the Commonwealth told you,
Oh,
Detective
so-
Griffin and Detective Tonelli.
what a cutie.
And you'll hear from both of them. But I want you to think about how many
He's
hands
disturbed.
were involved
Yeah,
in
the
this
whole thing.
case. When it comes to handling evidence, interviewing witnesses, executing search warrants, mistakes were made. And I want you to think, can we rely on every person that works for the Louisville Metro Police Department? You will learn that the Louisville Metro Police Department investigated these homicides, and once again, this is the same force that murdered Breonna Taylor. Yes.
Oh. Oh. All right. Now that sounds a little bit more like white noise. That sounds less like the toilet flushing. So I feel like they got the wrong sound effect out beforehand. Don't you think? Like they had the toilet flushing sound before, and they're like, "Oops, wrong sound, wrong sound effects." Oops. Or maybe they just had the microphone in the wrong room. Oh dear. Where is everybody? Come on, guys. Come and watch this. This is great.
What did she say to get the objection?
She referred to Brianna Taylor.
No.
Yeah, a different case. Yeah, so she referred to that. Bringing Brianna Taylor in was not on my bingo card. Yes, old line. That's what she said.
Spicy.
Yeah, very spicy. What are people watching right now?
Dave, the closing for his trial.
Oh, right. They're missing out.
They're at the final part of it.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so. The state's doing the closing.
Right.
Defense already went.
This is the same police force that unalived Brianna Taylor. Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was what they said.
That is good.
Well,
Not.
yeah.
It's
not
slimy.
A good thing. It's a slimy tactic, yeah.
Information in this case to the case of Brianna Taylor. I'm going to admonish you to disregard counsel's statement at this point.
Good Lord, is that her mom? The defense
Ladies and
attorney's
gentlemen,
mom?
Even if you
It looks
find
similar.
Detective Tonelli and Detective Griffin, the two lead detectives in this case. As I mentioned, there were so many hands in this case.
Yeah, go ahead and disregard that Brianna
And
Taylor
rely
reference
on
now.
Everyone else that works for the Metro Police Department.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Detective Tonelli lied under oath about one of the biggest pieces of physical evidence that the police possessed. He told the court under oath not once, but twice, that law enforcement had a piece of evidence that they did not have and do not have. So you might be asking yourself, I can see how some evidence could be lost. Maybe it was a tiny piece of hair. Maybe it was a speck of DNA. That seems reasonable. Ladies and gentlemen, no, it was an entire back seat of a car. It's gone.
What?
They look really
You know,
similar.
I told you earlier that Brice's, that
You'll
police
see.
stated that Brice's back seat had been removed. Detective Tonelli told a judge,
I mean, it's Kentucky. They all
in a
are kind of
grand jury,
related anyways.
that the Louisville Metro Police Department had found and collected a burnt back seat from a dumpster that matched Brice Rhodes' back seat. And now it's gone.
Everyone in the courtroom comes up with a full set of teeth total.
I am mystified as to how you lose a piece of evidence that big. It's huge. It's a huge piece of evidence, not only physically, but to the case as well. So in an effort to get Brice charged,
Wow.
the court was misled, the grand jury was misled about a piece of evidence in the LMPD's possession.
There's no objection.
Did they lie under oath about
Okay.
having it?
Yes, there's no
Or did they
objection.
dispose of it because it didn't help their case? You all decide that.
This is spicy.
So spicy.
The Louisville Metro Police Department searched the home.
I was
of
expecting
Brice's
like just
mother
Daryl Brooks
on
level shenanigans
White
and
Avenue in Louisville 2 times. The first search, officers found nothing incriminating. They even commented on how clean the apartment was. The crime scene unit was there, detectives were there, officers were there. It was a big search. Nothing was found.
Shame
And
Rhodes
then
doesn't understand the
They
brilliant
decided to just go back.
legal
The
intricacies
officers
of
go
this
back,
argument.
decide to search the home again, and now claim that they have found evidence that Larry and Maurice were killed there.
All right, I'm sorry, Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay.
First of all, is that how search warrants work?
I could be wrong in my info.
You keep going back until you find something, and if you don't find anything, you find a way to come back and find something. If at first you don't succeed, try again, huh? But that's not how search warrants work, ladies and gentlemen. Despite all of those officers being there, I've never seen a video recording of a search at Hyde Avenue. There's nothing for you all to watch. to see what actually happened. I want you to consider that when you hear about how the evidence was collected. Consider that reasonable doubt as to the guilt of Mr. Rhodes. I want to talk to you all about the investigation in this case, or the lack thereof. I think it's fair to say that you all could conclude that the police had tunnel vision in this case. And when I say tunnel vision, I mean that they focused in on Brice Rhodes, excluding all other possible suspects. Elizabeth Wren, the mother of Larry and Maurice, was the first to point the finger at Brice Rhodes. But why? She didn't see anything. So what was her problem with Brice? Was it their romantic relationship had gone bad? I feel for her. She lost both of her sons. She's a grieving mother, and you will see that when she testifies. But I'm going to ask you to look past
Muted.
that and think about the part that she played in this. Consider the reliability of her statement. Evidence will show that she is a known drug user who was aware that her juvenile sons were hanging with Ja'Cory Taylor and Anwan Carter, were involved with guns, and even knew her son's friends bought a gun out of her own home. She was naturally distraught when she spoke to the police, but also very likely under the influence. And I'm not saying that to speak ill of her, but as a jury, you have to know that the police took her statement and did not investigate anyone else. The police didn't care that she hated Brice. The police didn't care that they had a relationship that went sour. The police didn't care that she hadn't actually seen anything. They already had a name, and she was happy to trash her ex-boyfriend. Ladies and gentlemen, no other suspects were investigated. Not a full investigation was done, as you might expect to see in a case of this magnitude. There were, however, other suspects to investigate.
Yeah, I believe so.
Just prior to the shooting of Christopher Jones, a Louisville Metro police officer reported a suspect in a white shirt, reported receiving a report of a suspect in a white shirt riding a bicycle and waving a gun around in the area. It's not a coincidence. It's a high crime area. It wasn't investigated. Another witness reported seeing a black Chrysler 300M near the scene of Christopher Jones's death, and even stated a person got out and messed with the body, but then fled before the police arrived. This was not investigated. Another possible suspect comes to light in the statements of Anwan Carter and Ja'Cory Taylor. They both described two other men being present at and participating in the murder of brothers Larry and Maurice. Tyron Coleman was eventually
You're muted,
charged
Ella.
and convicted.
This is so spicy.
However, the other individual.
Yeah, pause it for a
was
sec.
charged or
Okay.
questioned.
Just for a second. It is live, but
Yeah.
oh my god, this is so spicy. Like, we thought that the defense was just going to come in and go, oh
Do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like maybe
30-second opening.
30-second, like, you know, this is what reasonable doubt is. These are his rights, la 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 la. Make sure you keep an open mind. No, this chick's going in with the cops didn't do their job, and
Police committed perjury under oath and destroyed evidence.
yeah, destroyed evidence, and the mum was in a relationship with the defendant, and she just like threw him under the bus, and she was a drug user, and the police just believed it was him, and there's no DNA of his at all except like the steering
his own
wheel
car.
and except the steering wheel and the gear stick of his own car. and everything else was destroyed. And the only people who have any testimony against him are people who are like obviously have
Yeah.
something against him, which are co-defendants. Whoa!
I was not expecting there to actually be a defense.
She's completely doing basically saying that he's like, and I hate to say Zach and him in the same sentence because Zach's an upstanding citizen.
Yeah.
And this man throws piss bombs at people in prison. So this guy is clearly not an upstanding citizen by any means whatsoever. He hasn't been a good boy.
Yeah.
But that said, she's trying to say that they didn't investigate anyone else. They just took the mother's word for it, and then
while David,
together
or at least as long as they go.
As long as they go for, at least, and then we'll probably do a bit of a recap after that.
Yeah, because it's really good.
It is really good. You'll be done around 4:30. What time is 4:30?
That's 50 minutes.
50 minutes away?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll see if we're still around. Cool. All righty, let's keep going.
There is a reasonable doubt that Brice Rhodes is guilty.
Yeah. It's just a shame, David, because sorry, just a second. It's just a shame, David, because it just happened. Like we didn't think the opening statements would be this afternoon. We thought it would be tomorrow. But yeah, we wanted to go live with them. So yeah. But super spicy, David. Super spicy.
For Brice to have committed these crimes. The police allege that Brice Rhodes shot and killed Christopher Jones in the presence of Ja'Cory Taylor, Ann Carter, Larry Ordway, and Maurice Gordon. And then about 3 weeks later, the police think that Brice stabbed Larry and Maurice because Brice was afraid they would go to the police and rat. But the other two who were present are still alive.
Good point.
Ann Carter and Ja'Cory Taylor were there, and they are still alive. Does this make sense to you? And I would like to talk about those co-defendants. I stabbed him. I stabbed Maurice in his side. I drove on him. I ran him over. Ann Carter was facing life in prison for his actions against 3 innocent people. He was facing life in prison. And the prosecution said,
oh, wow,
that's okay. We'll give you probation. But to get the sweetheart offer, you got to give us someone else. Ann Carter pled guilty to the murders of Christopher Jones, Maurice Gordon, Larry Ordway. And in exchange for that, the prosecution was okay with probation.
Thank you for that information.
Maybe a little prison. Left it up to the judge. If you testify against Brice Rhodes. Ann Carter gave a name. The police took it and ran with it.
Wow.
Up to that point, all they had was kids killing other kids. They wanted an adult to stick it to.
I'm eating lunch.
Okay.
And it's messy. Sorry. I'm muting my mic, so.
2 people have already admitted to killing Christopher Jones. Ann Carter and Ja'Cory Taylor. 3 people have already admitted to killing Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon. Again, Ann Carter and Ja'Cory Taylor, plus Tyrone Coleman. They have all pled guilty to their murders. So why are we here then? Because in order for those men to get very lenient deals from the government, they agreed to testify against Brice. The evidence will show you all that those responsible for the murders have already been convicted and are now trying to put the blame on Brice Rhodes. There's reasonable doubt. that Brice Rhodes is guilty. The evidence will show that the testimony of Anwan Carter and Ja'Cory Taylor, who you will hear from, is not believable. Both of these men are known criminals. In fact, Anwan Carter is currently in prison right now in the state of Florida. Guess what for? Gun charges. He had a loaded weapon on him. So after he got his sweetheart deal here in Kentucky for killing 3 people, he went to the state of Florida, joined a gang, and again got arrested. He changed his statement at least 3 times to the police that I can think of. At first, Mr. Carter even told police, "I do not know Brice Rhodes. I've never been in a car with him." However, after having time to consult with Ja'Cory Taylor, a plan was concocted to point the finger at Brice Rhodes. These two, Taylor and Carter, had a chance to get their stories together. There weren't any suspects initially after the Christopher Jones murder, but about 3 weeks later, Larry and Maurice are killed. Anwan Carter wasn't questioned until about 2 days after that incident. So all of this time, Carter and Taylor had time to get their stories straight, to come up with a plan of how to get themselves out of this. A plan to make themselves look less guilty for murdering their best friends, Larry and Maurice. A plan to blame Brice. Anwan Carter admitted to running over Christopher Jones's body in a pickup truck that he had stolen, that Mr. Carter had stolen. Do you know what kind of vehicle witnesses reported seeing at the scene where Larry and Maurice's bodies were recovered? A pickup truck, not Brice's blue Mazda. Anwan Carter admitted to stabbing his best friend, Maurice Gordon. Carter claims to have seen Brice Rhodes shoot Christopher Jones, but the evidence will show that what Anwan Carter in fact saw was a hand out the window shooting a gun. If you recall, Mr. Carter was in the vehicle behind where the shots were fired, the vehicle that the shots were fired from. It was dark outside, and Carter could not see the face of the shooter. Ja'Cory Taylor was in the back seat where the shots were fired and had just bought a gun from the boyfriend of Larry and Maurice's mother. Anwan Carter saw Ja'Cory Taylor buy the gun. There's reasonable doubt that Brice Rhodes is guilty. Ja'Cory Taylor admitted to buying that gun right before the shooting of Christopher Jones. He admitted to getting into an altercation with Maurice Gordon right before Maurice died. He admitted that Maurice Gordon pulled a knife on him. And then he admitted to stabbing Larry. Again, reasonable doubt. At the conclusion of the evidence, you will be asked to make a decision about Brice's fate. You have promised that in order to find anyone guilty, the government has first proven to you that that person is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If the government has not done that, you all must find him not guilty. I stabbed him. I stabbed Maurice in his side. I drove on him. I ran him over. You all get to decide what is true, who you believe, and what is reliable. Ask you to use your power as jurors to tell the government you are not convinced. Tell them that the evidence is not sufficient, and tell them that we will not wrongfully convict Brice. Thank you.
We're going to get a witness.
Before we begin hearing testimony, does anyone want a short break, 5-minute break?
Oh, we are going to get a witness.
5-minute break. Just come back at 3:40.
Great. Moving fast. Nice. Nice carpet, by the way. A little bit of a stain there.
Ooh. Nice feet, sir.
Good fish.
Ooh,
Oh, more feet.
yeah.
Only feet.
Sponsored by Only Feet.
Onlyfeet.com.
Feetfinder.com. Ooh, oh, yeah. This is so.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh,
Oh,
baby.
tennis shoes.
Oh, more.
Oh, yeah. Let's see some Skechers.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
baby.
Oh, hey, Skechers.
Oh, they are Onlyfeet.
Oh, you tease. Oh, you're doing a. He's trying to do a seductive pose.
Oh, baby.
Mm.
Ooh. Okay, let's have a look at it. Oh,
He's got a Band-Aid on the back of his head.
a Band-Aid. Someone tried
Yeah.
to get him in the back of the neck. Get out of the way, sir.
God damn it, sir.
Sir, move.
Yeah, see?
Oh, what's this? Looks like he's had a lobotomy.
Yeah. Maybe that's how they got him to be quiet.
Maybe. Oh, get out the way. Just move. Move.
Are they going to do witnesses today?
Yeah. They just said they've got a 5-minute break and do
Oh, okay.
testimony.
Nice.
What time is it there? Facelift gone wrong.
4.
On the wrong side.
So we're just going to watch the... Okay.
We're going to watch what?
Guess we'll just watch them mosey around.
Oh, look. Yeah, no, we could fast forward. I was just enjoying the people watching.
I know. Mm.
All right. Okay. I suppose we'll fast forward. It looks like, to me, this looks like church pews.
Yeah.
Okay. I suppose we could fast forward. I wanted to see if we could see what the defendant's up to. I gotta say, I was not expecting that.
No.
That was nuts.
He seems like a scumbag,
good.
but
Look, there's no question he's a scumbag. He throws piss bombs at people.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a dick move.
It's a dick move. Right? I mean, he spits on people. You don't spit on people. That's very rude. You learn that when you're
It's very disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful.
It hurts people's feelings.
It hurts people's feelings. I believe he stabbed some people in prison too.
Did he really?
I believe so, yeah.
It's like if you just kept your mouth shut.
If you're just a nice prisoner.
I know. If you were just...
More Only Feet?
Yeah. Mm. Damn it, I don't have my porn music in here.
He's threatened multiple judges' lives. Yes, he has. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that. And attorneys, right?
Yeah. He spit in one of his attorney's faces.
Yeah. What's with the pouting?
It's like his Zoolander face.
It is.
He's practicing his blue steel.
Mm.
Thank you, Deputy Mills. Everybody's phone back over here.
He's like, I like
To
the
report
suit.
anything
I'd like to be
regarding
able
the
to wear the
application.
suit regularly.
Mm.
I look hot.
I know it's very hot in here. You all need to take your coats off, whatever you need to do. So I'm going to try to get a big fan in here for tomorrow. So I'm going to get the air moving around. It's just when it's warmer outside, it gets very, very hot in here. All right. Commonwealth, are you ready to proceed?
We are,
You may call your first witness.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth is going to call Officer Thomas Franklin.
Good afternoon. Could I have you please raise your right hand? Please have a tell the truth and the whole truth.
Ah.
Thank you. Can I have a seat?
Okay, we start with an officer, of course.
Can you, state
Porn
your name
stash.
for the ladies and gentlemen?
Lieutenant Pornstash.
And Officer Franklin, where are you employed?
Louisville Metro Police Department,
How long have you been with the police?
roughly 10 and a half years.
And where are you
Our
with
volume
the
boost, sure.
police department, when
Ah.
this case occurred back on the second day of May of 2016?
Yes.
And how did you come to be involved in the case?
At the time, I was a patrol officer in the 1st Division on late watch. And
Hey,
I
look,
heard
you know,
a shot fired while I was at roughly 28 in Broadway. Started going towards, and then was later updated that there was a shooting that had taken place with a victim, and therefore continued that direction.
So you actually heard the gunshot yourself, and then you became aware that
Yes, sir.
it was fired. And have you had an opportunity to review your body cam from that evening? And did it fairly and accurately reflect the events as they unfolded?
Yes, sir.
Move to admit and publish officer's body cam.
oh, cat.
It's actually going to be Commonwealth 6. I have 5 photos.
Thank you. So admitted.
Oh, I hope there's nothing yucky in this. Oh, hang on, I better change my banner. Okay, I know.
Over there by that sidewalk, please. Okay. Hey, buddy, can you hear me? Can you hear me? We'll get to you in a second, all right? We just. Hey, where you shot at? Where you shot? Oh, here we go. Right here. Yeah, got it. Hey, buddy, stay with me, all right? What's your name, man? Died, abdomen. 112, I go to the abdomen. He's breathing. He's not conscious or alert right now. Hey, buddy, what's your name? Hey, buddy. What's your name, man? Talk to us. Can you hear me? He's not really responding to anything. Yeah, good. Oh, here we go. Hey, you're good. You're good. You're good, buddy. Be still, man. Be still. Be still. EMS is here. Can you hear my voice? Can you hear me? What's your name? Got a wall back here. He's moving his arm, but it's not like he's just responding to us. It's right underneath this. I don't see an exit wound. Yeah, there's one patient over here. Right here. No, it's over here by EMS. Don't worry about it. You guys are fine. Yeah, only seen one. Right here on his arm. Yep. No, he's not responding to us. He's moving his arm though a little bit. He may have another shot right here. Yep, right there in the arm. Another one. into him. It's stuck in there. No exit. We went through the arm here into here.
Is that a night you remember pretty well? Safe to say.
Yes, sir.
Can you walk the jury through what do you do once you get the call? What steps do you follow?
This one, again, I was in the parking lot at 28 and Broadway and actually heard the shot and started going that direction. Which time it's updated to a shooting with somebody that's been struck. I'm a 1st Division officer that borders the 2nd Division. The actual location was in the 2nd Division. However, because of short bodies, people already on runs and things of that nature, I decided to continue to go anyways because I had determined based off what dispatch had been saying and other people had been responding, I would still have been closer to help provide aid and continue to go that direction. So I continued going. I observed EMS in the area beforehand and notified radio that they were staging.
And I don't think I asked you, do you remember what time it was that the call came out?
It was after midnight. We work 7 to 7 at that time, I believe, but 12-hour shifts. So it was after midnight, but not too early in the morning.
I said it was a minute to 1. Would you believe me?
Yes, sir.
So you pull in, we saw how fast your cruiser was going. You see somebody down. What's the next thing you're doing there at the scene?
Next thing I did is I grabbed a roll gauze, medical supplies from glove box, show up on scene. There was another officer there, and put on PPE, gloves, then immediately went into trying to address wound, figure out where the wound was. Obviously, this is our victim here that we're attempting to help, and located the abdomen wound, which time at the time putting pressure on was the best option. And based off my experience and training and everything that I've encountered up to that point in time in my career. Again, en route, I'd seen EMS, so I knew they were close by, and just take care of the scene as far as making sure that it's safe for them to get there with their higher level of medical expertise.
And may I approach, Your Honor?
You'd think I would, Reindeer. I generally tend to have a cover for these things, getting around. That's a good point. These things, today has just happened so fast. I woke up, I found out that this was on, and I was like, ah! Let me have a look.
Are you familiar with these photos?
Yes, sir.
And they all fairly and accurately represent what they purport to be?
Yes.
Why don't you walk the jury through
Free
what these
Zachariah
photos
Anderson?
of- This is
Joel Guy Jr.? Let's go with that one for now.
it's Commonwealth's Exhibit 1. To admit and publish, Your Honor.
Yes. Oh, well, actually, sorry. I didn't publish. Should have checked with you first. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Might just go make another one whilst I'm
The first picture was a driver's
Waiting.
license. Why is that significant?
It was a driver's license that was in the wallet that was located in Mr. Jones's pocket. He had longer hair that night in the picture.
And then we have a picture here of this intersection.
Yes, at the location, roughly close.
And there's a picture of the numbers on this pole. Why is that significant?
I did not take those pictures. We used the numbers on the pole for years, diligently from at specific geographical and longitude, latitude locations. We've used them for our traffic accidents when reporting locations for traffic accidents in the past. But again, that picture I did not take.
And then this is Commonwealth's Exhibit 5. This is that same pole behind the car. Okay.
I'm sorry, did you answer?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes, that's the vehicle from where the back home where Mr. Jones was at.
Focus just a little bit better. But what is this picture of?
That's the location that we found it.
And there's items that are in the road.
Yes, as from the body camera to render medical aid, some clothing items were cut off, taken off to better allow the medical crew to address the wounds.
And that's what we saw happening in the video.
Yes, sir.
And then I want to show you this final picture here. There are yellow cones.
Hey, well, listen, Nana.
On the scene. What's the significance of that?
I did not place those cones. That would probably be a question for a detective. In the past, cones have been used to mark key pieces of evidence or things that they want specifically documented.
Things that you've identified as significant on the scene.
Yes, sir.
And so how long was it from the time that you showed up on the scene to the time that the victim was taken away in an ambulance?
The perception of time in instances like that, it seems like it could take a long time or a short time. Everyone's is different. For me, again, it's documented on the video. I would better reference that video and answer that question.
And then, did you do anything else of significance in the scene?
After I was done helping with aid and EMS was there, at that point in time, as a patrol officer, understanding this is now a crime scene, depending on what has already been done, crime scene tape was already in the process of being put up, at which point I went and people had started to gather and come outside because of the commotion and the lights and the sirens, and therefore just tried to identify anybody that may or may not have been around or seen or heard or anything like that, and try and get information on them to better identify them for a detective to follow up with.
Thank you, and please answer any questions for the defense.
Officer Franklin, I believe you told us that you are part of the 1st Division. Does that just refer to the area that you patrol?
Yes.
It's not a ranking of any sort?
Nope.
Okay, so you're a 1st Division officer on patrol that night?
Yes, that night I was.
Yes. And you testified that you were the 1st officer on scene that night?
One of the first officers on scene. The body camera video will show, again, going from 1st Division to 2nd Division, I'm not as familiar with all the streets. I was able to see another officer in front of me turn down the block, and then that's when the video kicked on, turn down the other block, and then come to the location.
So you were the 1st or maybe the 2nd officer on scene?
I'd say so, yes.
And when you arrived, however, you were not the 1st person on scene, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Because EMS was already there.
Negative. EMS was not there. I would say there were other people, obviously bystanders, I at one point in time told to go back, sidewalk, and we'll come talk to you.
So when you arrived, EMS is not currently there.
As far as first responders go, I was, as the video showed, the 2nd officer.
But there are other people who are not involved in law enforcement or first responders at the time, correct?
They were already there as I was approaching.
And when you arrived, you testified that you heard a single gunshot,
Yes, I heard a gunshot.
just one single gunshot,
Yes,
not 5 gunshots.
I heard a gunshot.
And you found a single bullet casing.
There was a casing near, and because of rendering medical aid, at one point in time it was moved. However, I made a point of it further on in the video to identify that that was it, and we still had it located. Whether I moved it, I bumped into another officer, or EMS did at that point in time, in our chain of importance, rendering medical attention is more important than that.
So I think you said your first, was it fair to say your first priority in responding is to preserve life? If it's
Fair
possible
enough.
to do so. And the next priority might be preserving the scene.
Yes.
So your first priority when arriving was to render as much aid as you could.
Yes, when safe to do so. Again, you have to have the scene safe. Only 2 officers, 1 person, you're kind of delegating, playing off each other as far as tasks. 1 person is security. You still don't know is the individual who shot, area, etc. So going into medical aid, I had the gauze. I remember to grab it. But I was getting out
The casing.
Oh, value.
That was but Brice's fingerprints were not.
Excuse me,
Brice's fingerprints were not found on that casing.
it's not part of that process.
I believe you said that after the scene was secure, you interacted with some of the bystanders
Yes.
to try and see if anyone had seen what had happened.
Yes.
And one of the bystanders was Keith Taylor.
Yes,
And did you speak with him?
I did.
Or not? No further questions at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Howard.
No further questions. ma'am.
Thank you. So you can step down. You're free to go.
We're moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, really, Billy? Hey, Kristen.
Me?
Yeah, I think it might be you, Dali. Can you just mute your mic for a sec? Yeah, it's you.
Hey, Sergeant.
Do you still hear it?
Good afternoon.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
my computer. Maybe is it like a fan?
Yeah.
My name is
Yeah.
Anthony Wilder, W-I-L-D-E-R. I'm currently a sergeant with the Louisville Metro Police Department assigned to the Public Integrity Unit.
And how long have you been with the police department?
Approximately 19 years.
And do you remember what your role was with the police department back in 2016?
From 2010 to August of 2017, I was assigned to the homicide unit.
And is that what you were doing back on May the 2nd of 2016?
Yes.
Do you remember how you became involved with this case?
I was working in the homicide office, and I was notified by radio that 2nd Division officers were responding to a reported shooting in the 800 block of South 41st Street. It was approximately 1 a.m. I believe it was Wednesday, May 4th, 2016.
And
May
what was
the
your
fourth be with you.
first action that you took once you got to the scene?
Once I was on scene, I made contact with the first officer that responded to the scene, Officer Franklin. Spoke to him about what information he had learned upon his arrival. And then after that, I conducted a neighborhood canvass of the immediate area, spoke with several of the residents, and then I conducted the scene investigation for that location.
Did I? Hang on, I can go back.
Can you explain for
Oh, actually,
people
no, I wouldn't.
what
I shouldn't
goes
do
into
that.
a neighborhood canvas?
I went door to door along that block and tried to make contact with residents to see if anybody had had witnessed anything or had any
Yeah.
information.
I'm gonna press pause. So, okay, so you're saying the 2 jurors were shown right before this witness.
Of course they were.
Okay, righto. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna go back
Yeah.
and try and look at it and make a
What an idiot.
and pause on it and show it. But wow, okay. Yeah, I'm glad we kind of missed it and glossed over
Yeah.
it. But wow. Law and crime. Really. Honestly, these potato cams that are in some courtrooms do a much better job because they are set to be on an angle that will just not get
Yeah.
to the jurors at all. I mean, they're not fantastic quality, but at least they don't like prejudice the whole system.
Yeah.
So wow.
And that would help with the
Just wow.
investigation. I spoke with several of the residents, but don't recall any specific information being provided.
And do you memorialize that search in some way?
My activities are documented in an investigative report that's provided to the lead detective and maintained in the case file.
So what did you do on the scene as far as the scene investigation goes? What's your role there?
The crime scene unit was contacted and they responded to the scene, and then they work at the direction of the detective, which in this case was me, conducting the scene investigation.
Me.
Do a walk through the scene and identify items of evidentiary value, and then the crime scene unit will do a series of photographs and video to document the scene location, and then they'll collect the evidence for preservation.
I'm now going to show the witness Commonwealth's Exhibits 7 through 19. But take a look at these photos and see if they're familiar to you.
These are some of the photographs taken during the scene investigation. They show typically there'll be 3 sets of photographs taken. The first set is an overall scene, and it shows the scene as it's found. The second set, markers are placed down. They're usually a plastic type of cone with numbers, and those are placed next to items of evidence. And then another set of photographs is taken, and then a third set is taken where the evidence is it's a close-up of the evidence.
Why is that done?
Was there spice?
It's just for documentation and to be able to show perspective of one piece of evidence to the other.
Okay. And these photos real quick. Start with this first one, and I'll go ahead and publish these.
This one is marked Exhibit 7. It is one of the first overall photos.
And that's
It's showing the scene and items of clothing that were eventually collected. Yes, this is just showing from a different angle the clothing. Yes,
my mic
these are
sound?
just showing different angles and perspectives of the scene during the first set of photographs with no markers. Markers in this photograph have been placed to help identify the
How does
items
my
of
mic sound?
evidence.
You're fine now.
It's the same. It's just showing a different.
I think I just turned the volume up too much of the sensitivity. And I moved it too. So.
What is this?
These will be. It'll show a close-up of the marker and the item of evidence associated with that marker. So for marker number 1, I believe that's a pair of dark-colored jeans. Marker 2 is a shell casing.
Marker 3.
Marker 3 is a kind of a plastic wristband. 4 is a Cricket cell phone. There's several pieces of clothing in 5. I believe there's a jacket, some white and red T-shirt, and then a cigarette butt.
Ugh, you said butt.
6.
It's a red and black hat with a U of L Cardinal logo on it.
Now, were you the lead on this team?
I was not.
So what do you do once you gather all the information and help identify what the significant evidence might be?
Once I had completed these activities, I document what I did and my findings into an investigative report. And then as the case would progress, any further assistance that's asked of me by the lead detective or as the investigation develops, I will provide further assistance and then document those activities in separate investigative reports.
And 41st Street is the address of this incident was in Jefferson County, is that correct?
It was in the 800 block of South 41st Street, that is in Jefferson County.
Detective, you were the first member of the homicide unit on scene, correct?
I was.
Or you weren't the lead?
I was
Is that-
not.
And
Is that Brienne
you
of
arrived on
Tarth?
scene about 15 minutes after
From
the
Game of
fire.
Thrones.
Approximately.
So you did not witness the shooting,
I did not.
and you arrived 15 minutes after.
After the initial 911 call. By the time I got there, the victim had been transported to the hospital and was not.
I
on-
challenge you to trial by combat.
That's correct.
And you testified that you conducted a neighborhood canvass.
Yes.
You attempted to or spoke to a number of folks who were in the area,
Correct.
but there were no eyewitnesses to this event.
I did not identify any during my neighborhood canvass.
One of the individuals that you did interview was Keith Taylor.
Yes, I believe he was one of the first 911 callers that reported the incident.
There was another report that night of someone riding around in a bicycle carrying a gun, correct?
Officer Hendricks for the 2nd Division. He was the first officer from the 2nd Division to arrive on scene, and he did advise me that there had been a report prior to that 911 call of an individual reported to be riding around on a bicycle with a gun. I believe I can't remember the address he gave or the location, and I don't remember how far the 800 block of 41st Street is and the location he's provided. I'd have to refresh my memory with a review of my investigative letter for the location that Officer Hendricks provided for the bicyclist.
But you didn't locate this individual riding a bicycle and waving a gun.
I did not.
And there was another report of another vehicle, a Chrysler 300 on scene that night, correct?
Mr. Taylor advised from speaking with him, I learned that when he had stopped his car as he pulled up on the victim in the street, there was another car that pulled up with him. Both individuals exited their vehicle, saw the victim. Mr. Taylor called 911 and remained on scene. The driver of the other vehicle got back in his car and drove away.
and the other individual drove away in his car before the police arrived, correct?
That's my understanding from speaking with Mr. Taylor.
One moment, Your Honor. No more questions at this time, Your Honor.
Thank you. Here we go.
Taylor had said that he and the Chrysler both
Correct.
and I think I misquoted the date on this. It actually occurred on the 4th. It was late at night on the 3rd into the early morning.
I believe the call came in at 1 a.m. on Wednesday, May 4th, 2016.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any thoughts?
Detective, were you the officer to recover the shell casing?
I was on scene. It was collected by the crime scene unit.
Was it collected while you were present?
That's correct.
Where was it located?
There was a green Camaro parked on the, I believe it's on the west side of the street facing south, and the shell casing was near the driver's side rear tire, which would be facing the street side.
And this casing would have been placed into evidence.
It is.
And Mr. Rhodes' fingerprints were not found on this casing.
I wouldn't know about that.
Any more questions?
All right, you're free to go. Thank you.
Gonna get another one?
Probably just some quick detectives.
Another witness to call?
Can we approach
Sure.
Maybe not.
Oh,
It was like Vivek Ramaswamy peeing in the toilet. Oh yeah, feet down. Oh yeah.
Ooh, only feet.
Let's see some open toes.
Only toes, only ankles. I see some of the same only feet as before.
I know.
Or some favorites. Only favorites.
Mm.
So are they taking a little break? Are they coming back or what?
Maybe they're taking a break.
They must be because they would have stopped the footage.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if I want to fast forward through the only feet. I like the only feet.
Courthouse, can you like vacuum your floor too?
I reckon. Oh, what's with the pee on his face? Is that because
Oh, it's a pee pick.
it's a pee pig?
He likes peens.
He does. He's got a pea cheek. Pea cheek. See, he's being nice to these lawyers. Maybe he just needed a female lawyer.
Maybe.
Maybe he just doesn't like men.
Maybe Brienne of Tarth raised him.
Maybe. He's been quite nice. Maybe he just needed to be medicated, or maybe he just needed that thing in the back of his head. Maybe
Oh,
he just needed-
he's smiling. Oh,
smiling.
this is adorable.
Oh, look at he's smiling.
Oh, I'm rooting for him now. I'm rooting for
Nah,
him.
you're not.
I don't think he did it. He's innocent.
I gotta say, his lawyer actually made me think. Maybe there is
She
prosecutorial
gave me-
misconduct.
There's a lot left. Ugh.
Stop it, darling.
See, it's the judge's or the lawyer's mom.
The judge is looking on her Tinder profile.
Yeah. She find the defendant on there.
Yeah.
She just matched with the defendant. That's why he's smiling.
Yeah. She matched with the defendant. She's like, hang on.
Wait, he looks familiar.
I need to swipe left on you. I can't.
Shit, I just had favorite.
Yeah. Hang on. Not a super like.
Okay, it's super like, whatever.
No super like for you. Okay. She does like the ones with the tats though. Mm-mm. See, he's not brown enough for me.
Yeah.
I know he's brown, but
Yeah, that's why you don't want to date him.
yeah, that's it. That's what it's about. It's just nothing to do with the piss bombs and the murder charges and
No.
all that stuff.
Well, you can fix him.
No, he's just a little pale. Yeah. I quite like the tats. I think the tats are cute. It's also the kissy face. I'm not that keen on the kissy face thing. Yeah, this judge needs to brush her hair.
Very post-coital.
You think? I think it's just greasy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. It's just really greasy. Look how many biros she's got.
How many what?
Biros. Oh, sorry. Pens. Like ballpoint pens.
I thought you're talking about chins.
We call them biros.
Okay. Oh,
Oh, look, she's smiling.
I love murder trials.
I love murder trials. It's so much fun.
I'm having a gay old time.
Yay.
Oh, maybe she is making love to the prosecutor.
Maybe.
They're supposed to go in the back.
Ah, it's crazy eyes.
They're supposed to be like anything that, I mean, just like someone's been served. Yeah, they're supposed to go back and do that. But there's also, if they're served by the sheriff's office, you can actually get them
Pat,
done.
stop trying to rip the cords out.
Can you fast forward?
Yeah, we can fast forward, I suppose.
It's the sheriff's office website.
I find all this fascinating, though.
Yeah.
Especially when it's live. Like, I don't care if it's like an old thing. I care when it's live for some reason. It's just more fascinating to me. Okay.
Or something.
Cat?
Let me try to hit reset.
Do we get another witness?
Yeah, I'm trying. Hang on, wait.
No, I was just wondering if we did.
So the cat just knocked my hand as I was moving things, and I don't know whether I went forward or backwards.
Keep going forward.
Yeah, I'm trying. Here we go. Oh, look, wait on. There's a chick there that might be your type. Is she doing docket work right now? I don't know, Line. Hang on, let me just keep moving. Hang on, is that more only feet coming? We might be able to get up to live. Oh, are we getting up to live? Oh, we are live, people.
Nice. Yeah. Ooh.
We have only feet and we are live. Hang on, let me just take this banner away. We are 100% live. Yeah, caught
Do I
up.
need to report anything?
I can't fast forward anymore. That's it.
Almost to call their next
We're watching
witness.
everything.
Yes, Your Honor, the Commonwealth is going to call Detective Brice.
Good afternoon, detective.
Ooh, a warrant.
Have you raise your right hand, please? Swear to tell the truth and the whole truth. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Detective. Can you introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Brian Griffin. I was previously employed with the Little Metro Police Department, and at this time I was part of the homicide unit.
And how long were you with the homicide unit for?
I was with the homicide unit for about 2 years, employed at that time for 5 years, I believe.
And what do you do these days?
I'm a commercial real estate appraiser.
So, back in 2016, May the 4th, you were with homicide then?
I was.
And were you called to the scene in this case?
I was.
What was the first action you took when you arrived on the scene?
So when I arrived on scene, it was about 1:30 in the morning. Detective Wilder had already
Hey, Nikki.
made his way to the scene and had started that scene investigation. When I arrived on scene, the victim had already been transported to University of Louisville Hospital. So at that point, we were conducting the scene investigation. So my first actions when I got on scene was to see what we had and then to start the neighborhood canvas.
Okay. And did anything interesting come about as a result of your neighborhood canvas?
For my part of the canvas, I was unable to locate any witnesses along in the 800 block of South 41st Street. I was canvassing house to house. I had no answers on doors. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. So on my side, the houses that I knocked on, front doors, I was not able to talk to anybody.
And do you recall a report of a guy that had a gun that was on a bicycle?
There was a report of that. I didn't have any further information on that, and I was unable to.
Was there any statements from anybody that he was in any way involved in this?
I didn't have any statements to that effect.
And can you tell us a little bit about the character of this neighborhood? Is it residential?
So the 800 block South 41st Street where this occurred is a residential neighborhood south of Broadway and west end of Louisville. It's predominantly a residential neighborhood. There's people out. Just depends on what time of day, but there are people out at all times of day. So someone on a bike is not out of place.
And no one said that someone on a bike was at this scene or
Correct.
even on this street.
That's correct.
Okay. So, did you go out to the hospital that night?
I did. Once we completed our scene investigation, I went to the University of Louisville Hospital.
May I approach with Commonwealth?
Okay.
No objection.
This is photographic failure.
Yes. There's a picture of the victim at the University of Louisville Hospital.
What's the number on it? That's Commonwealth's 20. And had he already passed away by the time you got to the hospital?
When I arrived at the hospital, he had already succumbed to his
What did you do after that? Did you do anything else with respect to the scene?
When I went to university, we had completed the scene investigation. It was in the middle of the street and on South 41st Street. So we concluded that scene investigation. And I went to the hospital I believe it was Detective Baker that went to the hospital. Kind of split duty while people are investigating the scene. Somebody else would go to the hospital to speak with the doctors there to get a report of what's going on with the victim to get an expectation there. So as soon as I was done with the scene investigation, I went to University of Louisville Hospital to talk to the doctor there to determine the time of death for the injuries that occurred.
And did you also attend the autopsy?
I did that it would be that same morning at that point.
Was there anything significant about the autopsy?
Other than the injuries he sustained a gunshot wound that went through his right arm and entered his right side.
So, after the autopsy, after the scene, did you have any suspects on this case?
I did not.
Did you have any promising leads on the case? So, what was the first thing that broke for you on this case?
I believe, and I would have to look at the exact date. Roughly 2 weeks later, I received a call. I was off at the time that there was there were interviews taking place. That the individuals that were being interviewed had information on my case.
And who was that call from?
I believe it was Detective. It was one of the detectives in the homicide unit, but I can't remember who exactly called me. If it was Detective Tonelli or if it was another person, I believe it might have been Detective Tonelli, but I can't remember the exact conversation.
And as a result of this phone conversation,
Sir, did you wear a mask a little too much during COVID?
On my case, I came in to witness the end of the interview.
Good Lord. He's going to fly out of that courtroom if he starts wiggling his ears.
One of the co-defendants in this case.
Okay.
Needs to stand if you need to approach. Okay.
Okay. I saw on Twitter a minute ago someone saying that that the sounds like a toilet flushing. However, they have gotten rid of it. The toilet flushing sound. It does now sound like white noise. They definitely had a toilet flushing sound earlier. There's no question about it. It wasn't just us that heard it. Our audio's louder than the court. Okay. All right, we'll fix that, Reindeer. Thank you.
did you come across any surveillance videos?
I did. I had made several attempts to recanvass the 800 block of South 41st Street where this occurred, in the hopes that it was late at night, maybe somebody would be awake the next day or subsequent days. I had the chance to go to, I believe it was 823 South 41st Street, where I obtained some video, surveillance video pointing out the front of the house towards the street. I was able to collect that.
And what was significant in that video?
That video, it faces the street. It does not capture where the victim was located ultimately. However, it does show the victim walking down the street right around the time of the incident, and then it shows two vehicles that are coming up the street. They would be driving northbound.
Didn't you get a live alert half orange?
Right after he walked by.
And you've seen this video before.
I have.
It fairly inaccurately represents the video you recovered. Your Honor, the Commonwealth would move to admit, publish Commonwealth Exhibit 20.
Objection. All right. Admitted, and you may publish.
Thank you, Reindeer. I try to make it so that people can see what they want to see and watch what they want to watch. So that's what the live alerts are for.
Okay. Next time.
Yeah, next time. You can always watch it back. That's a shame, but we'll be live every afternoon, and we'll be going on 1.5 speed, 1.25 speed to catch up for the mornings and get back to live again. Just like today, every single day. So don't you worry. Make sure you tune in.
And do you know if the timestamp on this video is accurate?
I would have to.
Totally
I don't
dangerous.
remember. I didn't look as I was watching it. If you
Put the
if
last
you
clip back
rewind
up.
it would have been. So frequently, whenever I have been looking at video for surveillance on private homes, it's frequent that they're not on the correct date or the times could be off. As for instance, this is showing 5/3 of 2016 at 23:51 hours. The incident in this, for this case, it occurred on 5/4 at 23, roughly 23:59 is when we got the call. So roughly an hour later from this, which could be from several things. If people don't change it with daylight savings time, if something like that occurs, the hours could be off by a little bit. So the timestamp on this will show within an hour of when we received a call.
No further questions.
Cross-examination?
You'll want to go back half Irish. It's quite good.
Good afternoon.
Definitely.
I want to start off with something pretty easy. Is it Brian or Ryan?
Brian with a B.
With a B.
B-R-I-A.
No.
Correct.
Griffin.
Yes.
That's my fault.
Yeah, half Irish. That's a shame. Oh well, next time.
You were lead detective on this case?
I was for this case, yes. Christopher Jones.
He was the lead detective. Okay.
Did you remain lead detective on it until you left the Louisville Police Department?
I did.
Which was when?
This January 15th of 2021, 2 years ago.
A couple of things I wanted to follow up on with you. You're familiar with your report, right?
Yes.
And your initial report in this case is actually only 2 pages, right?
That's probably fair assessment. The initial report for anything is the pertinent information on it, and we'll add to that as time goes on.
2 pages.
Probably.
In that report, you indicate that there was a shot followed by 5 more shots.
I believe that was what the call came in as, that there was the caller for the dispatch run said that they heard a shot and then 5 additional shots.
So today, you would agree that that was incorrect.
I was not there at the scene to be able to say whether that was incorrect or not. She could have heard a total of 6 shots. I don't know. I can't speak to what she did here.
Okay. Well, you were the lead detective. There wasn't evidence of 6 shots.
There was not evidence of 6 shots, correct?
Nonetheless, your report indicates 1 plus 5. Right?
That was the initial call, yes. From
So,
the call taker.
but you don't have, you have the ability with, I know those reports are done by computer, right?
Correct.
And when you figure out something's wrong, like an error, right, you can go back in and fix it.
Correct.
But you did not.
I did not correct the initial call taker's, what she took from the person who called it. Correct. I left it as it was called into dispatch.
You didn't include a correction that says, in our investigation, we determined, in fact, it was only 1 shot.
I did not, and I did not change the initial report to change it from what the call taker took as it came in to say that there was only one gunshot recovered, or one shell casing recovered, or one gunshot that was heard, because the call came in that there was a gunshot, and then she heard 5 additional. Whether it was accurate or correct, it still was something that was called into dispatch, and that's how we received the initial call. So to preserve what we received initially, that was left the same.
Let's talk about this one shell casing.
Okay.
That shell casing was still present on the ground when you got to the scene?
Yes,
And it was collected,
it was.
it was tested.
Yes.
That's one of the routine things that lead detective does to make sure everything gets tested, right?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, one of the things it was tested for was fingerprints.
Yeah, it was tested for fingerprints, but I'll let you ask the question.
Okay, thank you. And Brice's fingerprints were not on the shell casing.
No, sir.
And the reason we test for fingerprints is because things like shell casings actually do take fingerprints.
They do, and they often also burn off from the shell.
I want to ask you about another aspect of the case. You went to the autopsy.
Correct.
Which was
The morning of the 4th.
okay. All right. It was the same day?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't
By
sure.
the time that we finished the scene and I went to University of Louisville, it would have been about 4 or something in the morning, and then it would have gone over to the autopsy right after.
Okay. And you're familiar with the contents of that report?
Yes,
You were present at the autopsy.
I was.
In addition to the injury from the bullet, the single bullet, right? There also was an injury to his head.
Yes.
That was documented. You were able to see that, right?
Yes,
And that was also documented on the autopsy report
I believe so.
and was observed by the medical examiner.
Yes.
Now, it's fair to say that I think you talked about doing a neighborhood canvass, right?
Yes.
Your report indicates that you knocked on 5 doors.
I did. There was additional detective there that was doing an additional canvas on the additional side of the road within the immediate area.
Now, you've talked about things a few weeks later. It would be 18 days later, something like that.
Roughly, yes.
Roughly 18 days later. From the 4th, during, say, the next
While I let my cat
week
out.
after that, what's the indication that you did any follow-up work on this case?
That's not entirely true. There was additional follow-up done. I followed up with the leads that we had. There was additional cell phone search warrant that was done for the victim's cell phone, as well as additional canvases that occurred that did not deal with it.
Looking at your reports, you did. I think you said before when you were asked by the prosecution, you don't really have any leads.
They were not very. No, the leads on this case were not very good.
You may not have recall of this next question, but I'm going to ask anyway. About how many murder cases would you say you had you were working in homicide?
Correct. Were you asking that I was the lead on or that I worked on in general?
That is a fair follow-up question. I meant as lead.
I would have to get the exact for you. It was within around 10.
Okay, and that's fine. I was looking for the ballpark. I was curious. And then how many additional ones that you were not lead?
That I was not lead that we worked on.
That you were part of. Do you guys do it all by teams?
It just depends on the situation. It depends on the amount of cases that are being worked at the same time, depending on the day. It varies, unfortunately. But we worked over 100 cases a year, and I was there for a couple of years. I did not work every single case, but a fair amount in some form or fashion.
I think I did a bad job asking my question. I'm going to ask it better. In May
of that year.
of 2016, how many cases would you have had
This would have been the only homicide that I had open as a lead.
And then as part of a team?
As part of a team, I would have to look. I don't have that number. I mean,
Sure, I know you don't have the number, but I just meant, do you
I've
ballpark?
worked several, but I was also working non-fatal shootings as well. So I couldn't give a 7 years ago. I can't remember the exact number of cases from that
Okay.
one.
Okay. You were unable to find any other leads the next day, the next week, week after?
Yes, sir.
Why'd you leave the Louisville Police Department?
Family reasons, sir.
I have no further questions.
Can you retract?
Briefly, Your Honor. You mentioned someone had come forward and said that they heard 1 shot and then 5.
Yes, I believe that was the initial call for the call for service that came to dispatch, that came through dispatch for patrol to respond to.
And it was phrased that way as 1 and then 5.
Correct.
If somebody had heard 6 shots at once, you think they would just say they heard 6 shots?
That would be what I would assume. In the area that was in, it is not uncommon for there to be multiple different gunshots from different areas that would be audible in the same area.
And I guess the question was asked, because someone gives a statement that has facts in it that don't jive with what other people said or what your theory of the case is, you don't get to go back and change what they said, right?
Correct. That was what I heard. It would be, after going to the scene and seeing 1 shell casing, to amend it to say there would be 1 would be fair, but the call came in that there was one shot and then an additional 5. Whether that's accurate or inaccurate, I left that there for transparency.
But what you do know is there was 1 shot at yours.
Correct.
Was anybody's fingerprint identified on the case?
No.
So there were no fingerprints on the case. It wasn't
That's correct.
just that Brice Rhodes' fingerprints weren't on the case. Nobody's.
Correct.
Do you recall when you saw an injury to the victim? You mentioned his head. Where on his head was the injury?
I would have to look at the report to be sure. I can't. 7 years ago, I can't remember the head injury very clearly.
Do you remember seeing the head injury when he was laying in the street before he got medical attention? Or do you remember seeing the head injury at the hospital or at the autopsy?
It would have been at the hospital or autopsy because I did not see the victim on the scene. When I arrived on scene, he had already been transported to U of L while they were trying to give him medical attention.
No further questions, John.
All right, you're free to go, Detective Griffin. Thank you. Go on, approach.
Wait. Sorry, guys. Oh, God, they've got this flushing sound back. The flushing sound is back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break for the evening, but I'm going to read the admonition again. Before you go, please recall my earlier order. You are not to do any research on this case or post information about this case. If you accidentally encounter information about the case from any source, it is your duty to bring it immediately to the attention of the court. Also, if anyone tries to speak to you about the case, tell them you are under an order not to discuss it and that you cannot continue to discuss it. I'm going to ask you all to be back outside the courtroom tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. and don't forget your phones. Oh, yes, sir.
Our notes.
Just leave them here. Yep, you can just put them face down and leave them here.
Thank you.
Kristen said she has the things.
Yes, Half Irish. He's been quite a good boy. And I'm not talking about the cat. He's been naughty. But yes, you. The defendant has been behaving himself. He's even smiled a few times.
I'm muted. Yeah, he's been having a gay old time. He's laughing, having
Oh, hang
fun
on.
with his lawyer.
Maybe we should turn our sound up a little bit now.
Yeah. Let's see them feet. Oh, come on, you tease. Oh, goddamn cameraman.
If you have phones, be sure to stop and see the deputy.
Ooh, the forgotten Louisville.
Dave, is there anything we need to take a point break for these?
Why are you wearing a mask, man? What's it? Can't believe there's not been one outburst. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, well, let's see what people are saying.
He looks like he did it.
Hang on. Can I make this bigger? Let's see if
I don't know.
Yes, I can.
Ooh, can you make it bigger?
Hey, baby.
How did he know the two teens that were killed? 9:30. Ah.
9:30, right.
Hello, strangers. Good to meet you. Not
hang on,
guilty,
hang
not
on.
guilty, not guilty.
Not guilty.
11%. What the hell?
11%.
And she had a gun. What's worse, a gun or a knife? Love, 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 love. Heart, 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 heart. He had no knife, FFS.
Not too long, David. Why? You get thinking about popping in?
No, he has to go to his Catholic thingy. Oh, wait, no, this is the Hannah chat.
This is the what chat?
Hannah chat.
No, these people were just watching this.
Oh, maybe they redirected over.
These people just sit and watch Law and Crime all day. That's all they do, right?
Okay, is the stream for the old one up still?
Huh?
No, you're on the Hannah Payne trial.
Oh, okay.
I guess it redirected over. I don't know.
Maybe maybe just automatically redirects. Okay, let's just read
If she somehow gets away with it, I wonder if she'll change her gun-carrying habits. Jury out. Why not over to the Elijah McCain case? At least at 21, I would not have behaved like that. The only way he pulled was over. Doesn't matter if Hannah believed her BS. She took a life. Shouldn't take long, ho, but I'm nobody, LOL. She was not a lady. She needs to switch to carrying mace. Right meow. Gentle, how are you, hun? Guilty.
Guilty.
Innocent young lady.
Ooh.
81% pulled. Guilty.
Hang on. Hey, there's someone called Snarky Old Lady in there.
No, right. I think it just directed over to this trial.
Yeah, it just did.
Ours
so
ended.
we were just watching the feed of Brice Rhodes. It ended, and so
what time on wind? The case is 9:30.
Christine's in there.
Wow, she's cheating on us.
Christine's cheating on us.
What the fuck, Christine? Seriously, I cannot believe you. God, she's gonna get herpes over there and bring it back to us.
She is. please don't bring us any diseases from there.
Yeah. At 21, I was not trying to be no snitch. That's for sure. Love from Ireland. Now we sit. Here we sit
And wait.
to take a shit. Here I sit brokenhearted here I sit brokenhearted, for I came to shit and only farted.
Dali.
Sorry.
All right. So what I wanted to do is
no dropping soap in a female jail. Doesn't matter. No one has pee-pees.
All right, you keep reading that while I
Any
bring
word
up the thing I was
yet?
gonna bring up.
I thought it IRS recess matrix. Was it mentioned whether or not she kept around chambered? Hopefully we get a verdict soon. Are we not on verdict watch?
Okay, that's the other thing about these people who watch Law and Crime. They think that once it goes into verdict watch, like it's just going to be like,
yeah,
come on now, why is it taking so long?
They're done using the bathroom and now filling out paperwork.
Why is it taking so long? Come on. Why does it take so long? It's been 10 minutes. It's been 20 minutes.
Arrgh, I'll have to back up and listen to the closings. My little bean escaped the yard, and I spent the last 3 hours looking.
Everyone needed to know that. All right. Hang on.
I just wanted to stop by and say hello since I haven't been around. Oh, that's sad. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's really
important. I don't want. Okay. Yeah, your daughter's chemo. Okay. I'm sorry, but don't know why. Just a feeling the verdict will be tomorrow morning.
Well, probably because it's the end of the day.
TBD.
Probably because it's the end of the day, people. That's probably.
I see heads moving. 20 minutes in, hon. God will set Hannah free. 1 hour max. How did she even get bail on those charges? I would assume whenever they reach a verdict, I may be wrong. Yeah, okay. I feel sad for her father. He's been so upset in the background. He's been freaking sleeping the entire trial.
Who?
Her father.
Oh.
He's like had his eyes closed.
Oh, you're talking about Hannah Payne, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop that right now, and I'm gonna share this.
Aww.
Yeah. Okay. So this person
all smiles.
publicly buzzed. Right. I don't know who they are, but
they sell vibrators.
Yeah, I'm going to show publicly buzzed Twitter account right now, because whoever this person is clearly some sort of public commentator, and he or she, whoever it is, has been
non-binary.
Has been making some sorts of memes and things to do with the Brice Rhodes case. Okay, I don't care about her reposting Jennifer Coffin liquor. Okay, that says something.
No, she blocked me.
Yeah, okay, but
digging the judge so far. He or she is canceling evening plans so she can watch Brice Rhodes squirm a little more today.
How do you know?
No, I think she's doing Uber Eats, sweetie. No, the defendant wasn't wearing the mask. He actually did really good. Smiled, laughed with his attorney.
He's happy.
Actually, the opening was insanely good by the defense. Like, considering...
It was worryingly good.
It was shockingly good. Like, it gave me doubt. Now, there's a long way to go. It's not evidence, but it's like... It was like going into Daryl Brooks' trial and having a good, bad example, because...
No. You have to watch it.
Yeah.
Like you legit, you need to go back and watch it, because she basically said that there was no
state,
DNA of his anywhere.
Except
there
his
was-
own car.
Except his own car, which obviously would be on the steering wheel and the gear stick of his own car. That they, the one piece of physical evidence that would have linked him to the killings was the back seat of the car, which just mysteriously disappeared. Like that law enforcement made that piece of evidence disappear. And she can't understand how a physical piece of evidence like that could
Not
just
something that big.
could just be made to disappear. So they lost it somehow over the course of this investigation.
Oh,
There are 3 people who have gone to prison already, who have pled out and gone to prison already for these unalivings. And they're the only ones who will testify against him, because they have reduced sentences and reasons to testify against him. Yet there's no one else. There are no other witnesses. There are no other people who would have any reason to throw him under the bus. Also, it was the mother who said that it was him. Apparently, they were dating at the time. And
That's what he says, but somebody that knows the family said that it wasn't true.
Yeah, someone was
in our chat.
today. Yeah, someone was in our chat today, and I don't know if she's still here or not. But yeah, but apparently she's the one who threw him under the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, she was the mother. But apparently, and this is what the defense says, apparently it was one of those cases where they've got the guy and they didn't look at anybody else. Now, that doesn't really make much sense to me, because they have 3 other people already who have gone down for this. But this is the main guy as far as the defense is concerned, and they always wanted to throw this guy away. Look, the defense attorney absolutely killed it. Her opening statement, I had no clue that she was going to go in with this kind of argument. I thought it was going to be one of those moments.
Kenosha werewolf defense attorney gives a 30-second open.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a werewolf 30-second open. Yeah, but no, it was not. It was.
I think the defense went even longer than the state on their opening.
Oh, and they didn't object either.
Once.
Like, there was one objection when she compared the police involved with the police involved with Breonna Taylor. In fact, she said they are the same police that.
Did
they
Breonna
are the
Taylor.
same police.
I think so.
Breonna Taylor?
Or same department.
Police department, yeah, and then they objected to that. But apart from that, all of this stuff about misconduct, they didn't object to that.
Yeah, like lying under oath.
Yes,
the grand jury
they
and
didn't
other
object to that,
officers.
So I'm just like, this is going to be a bit more. This is going to be a fight. There's actually going to be a fight on here. I thought it was just going to be, here you go, here's all the evidence and done. But
Open
no.
and shut.
Yeah. Defense brought up Breonna Taylor. That was an objection, but apart from that, no.
Still got it in the minds of the jury.
Yeah. Dave, hi Dave. What's this? I've been on LNC, didn't realize you were doing the trial. Looks juicy. Yes, we will be doing the trial every single day, Dave. So tune in here. What we're going to be doing is, I'm still considering, I was going to stay up tomorrow night to run it from the beginning, because tomorrow night is your morning. I was going to stay up tomorrow night and run from the opening statements live, and then, because Dali is only available from the afternoon, and usually I'm only available from the afternoon too, because that's my morning.
Yeah.
And so I was going to do the full day tomorrow, but because they started this afternoon, I jumped out of bed and was like, quick, go live. And quick, I was literally like, Dali, it's on now, like that. And he's like, oh my God, I need to have lunch. And I'm like, I don't care, I'm going live. And I was like, I am literally what I slept in. I haven't had my coffee. It's like that. Anyway, so I'm thinking I may still stay up all night tonight and run the whole day from the beginning of the day, as in day 2. And then that way we have a full day of completely live testimony. You need to tell your friends though, guys, like, need watch hours,
help us
need
out.
viewers, really, really need it. So I really need help from all of you to spread the word around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other trials going on. I think David's trial might be over though. So
They're in verdict watch, so.
Yeah. So it'd be really, really sweet if we could get a lot of word out that we're doing this, because, I know that there'll be a few people at a loose end that I don't know. Young Folk might be over as well for now. I think it's on break
till January.
Well, there you go. So there's quite a few people who might not have much else to do. I know Vices is covering this, but if you want a smaller chat where people know one another, it's a great place to watch it.
Yep.
So maybe it might be worth me staying up tonight. Encourage me, guys. Let's go.
Oh, Valhalla's is still going a while.
Yeah, Valhalla's is still going on. So there's that option as well. But this is pretty spicy, guys. So how about we do it?
Yeah.
Encourage me. Should I stay up tonight? Should we go? Day 2 from 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. Eastern? Tell me now.
I say so.
I reckon let's do it. And then what we're going to do from then on in is we're going to, Dali and I, every afternoon, I don't know what time in the afternoon we usually start. Dali, what time do we usually start?
3 Easternish.
3 Easternish, yeah.
Yeah.
So from 3 Easternish, we will start every day. And
Could you do it like 2 Eastern, which is an hour before we normally go live?
Absolutely go earlier. Yeah, I can. Okay. I can get up a bit earlier. I can go 2 Eastern.
And then we can
cut all the breaks out. We can start the day and run the whole day, and then catch up for live.
Yeah.
Each day, make it a nice, clean.
Yeah.
No lunch breaks, no anything, and show you guys everything, nice and clean and fast. And yes, dad jokes, smaller chat, daily dad jokes, all that stuff. Yes, we can do that. Is there a guesstimation of how long the?
Yeah, it's going to go into January.
Will it?
Yeah.
Really? Why is it that long? Do you know?
No, but they have a lot of witnesses, like the kids that he intimidated supposedly, and
okay,
I'm guessing that's why. Yeah.
There you go. So tonight I'm staying up all night, right? So I will be from, I think it's 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I will check the docket, but guys, make sure notifications are on. Make sure that you're there for it. Tell everybody. Yes, there are 3 murders to cover. So the 2 boys were together, but there's also the 40-year-old man as well, which is a separate incident. So yeah, there are a few things to cover, and it was 2016, so it's so yes, make sure you tune into my channel tonight. I'm not sure whether we'll cross over to Dali's channel in the afternoon. Might do, and then don't worry about that. Once you're in here, you'll find out all the information. Stay in the Discord as well so that you get the info over there. And yes, this is going to be huge. After years of not speaking to his defense attorney, it looks like Brice Rhodes has finally decided to participate in proceedings. I think that he is drugged, to be honest with you. Elizabeth Jones.
They can't, well.
Tom Griffiths, Brice Rhodes' defense attorney. Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon's grandma. Where down there? Brice Rhodes staring at her. Oh, this is the grandma. Right. Yeah, righto. Okay. What's with the plaster on the back of his head? Did he cut himself? He's such a freak.
Glad to see her keeping an open mind.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Yeah, 3 minutes to cover. Alrighty, so that's the plan. Does that sound like a plan, guys? You in?
Yeah.
Everyone's in? Sweet. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. That means that tonight or today, during the day, I need to get some sleep. What's this? 2 hours? Oh my God, too many people at the same time. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Bobby? Bobby just speaks baloney all the time. Alrighty, so as per usual, I'm going to say the things that I say. And I have a new extension on my Brave browser, and it's really cool. It's like a little clipboard extension, and it means that I don't have to constantly go, where is my thing? So here we go. I could just post this in there.
Oh, yeah, I know.
For live alerts to EU Dali Talk and all friends of MLS, become a member. Make sure that you're doing that all the time. That's very good. There are a lot of trials going at once online.
Bobby.
Are you angry about it? Bobby, you need to turn your live alerts on. I've told you this before, and you keep coming here and whining that you didn't know, but you don't have your live alerts on. So, boo. Make sure that you are subscribed to Dali Talk if you're not already. There you go. Take me out with my copying and pasting of everything. The other thing is that this thing here, it's a Hello Watchathon. Why don't you go over there? And after this, go and turn on that and just leave it running, please. That would be fantastic because I'm getting really, really close. We're about 200, maybe 300 watch hours left, and I just can see it going up in the background, and it's lovely. So thank you so much for that, everyone who's doing that. It's lovely. It makes me feel so much happier to know that that's going on. Make sure that you have the notification bell on, the heavy bell, so that you know that when we go live, okay? But I can promise you that tonight, my time, which is about 9 a.m. Eastern, there will be a stream up that will be playing this trial live. Please be there because I'm going to be up all night and I need company, guys. I really do. Please share that around. Tell people. Don't watch it anywhere else. Watch it here with all your friends. Yay. I think that's it. Unless anyone else has anything, any comments, praise, complaints. No complaints.
No.
Praise.
Awesome job.
Compliments.
You're beautiful.
Okay, and also, how good is my new streaming system?
Very good.
Isn't it great?
So much better.
It's so good. Everything works. Yeah, you do need to, Bobby, you do need to go back and watch the Opens. It's so worth it. You really do. Like, everyone needs to go back and watch it. It's amazing. Oh, half Irish. You're gorgeous too. My streaming setup. Oh, did you see the photo of it?
Oh, I didn't see it.
I put a photo up on the community post on YouTube. Yeah, it is a bit scary. It looks like a surveillance system. Yeah, I'm spying on you all. Alrighty, time to go. All right, thank you everybody. I need to go get my coffee for the day, or otherwise I'll bite all your heads off. Have a great day. Thanks for being here.
Bye.